Hi guys, it's Elaine here from Kerry's Full Breakfast. Andrew and I are delighted to say that our Halloween ghost story writing competition is back again this year. So the rules are really simple. You've got to be a primary school child of any age to enter, a maximum of 700 words, and have them into us here at Radio Kerry in Tralee by the 21st of October. That's a Monday. We have to receive them by close of business that day. So you can post them into us, Radio Kerry, Main Street, Tralee, County Kerry, or you can email breakfast@radiokerry.ie. So the prize on this is pretty cool, actually. You get to come in here on the show with myself and Andrew and hear your story brought to life by our production team. Alan does a fantastic job on it. We've got actors, we've got music, we've got sound effects, and they'll bring your story to life in a really scary fashion. It's been brilliant over the past few years. And as well as that, you get to come in and sit with us, and you get a €100 voucher for the Killarney Outlet Centre as well. So we're really looking forward to getting your stories. As I said, a reminder, 21st of October, it's a Monday. That is the closing date. 700 words and open to all primary school children. And here's an example of one of our previous winners.
Smile by Julian McCormack. It was a dark, dreary evening and Julie was driving home. She turned off the main road down a long, narrow road that led to her house. It was eerily quiet, but then it was Halloween night. Julie was feeling miserable and very tired after a tough day. And as her mind wandered, she thought back to the days when she was out trick-or-treating. She reckoned it was about 15 years or so since she'd said those words. A fog started to develop along the road, making it difficult to drive, especially since she was so exhausted. Her eyes became heavier and heavier as she drove. And then, just for what seemed like a moment, she closed her eyes. She hit a pothole and that woke her up. And as she focused back on the road, she saw a tall, slender figure hunched over in the middle of the road. She tried to avoid him, but it was too late. She got out of the car slowly to see was the man okay. His skin was pale white, even with the brake lights shining on him.
Please be okay.
He had no shoes on his feet, and she couldn't make out much of his face, only that he appeared to be smiling.
Hello? Are you okay?
A trickle of blood ran down from his mouth.
Oh no.
He was dead.
Oh no. What did I do?
Julie tried not to panic. She didn't know what to do.
Okay.
She closed her eyes and took 2 deep breaths. When she opened them again, the man was gone.
Where did he go?
She frantically tried to see him, but between the fog and the lack of light, the body was nowhere to be seen.
What's going on?
Did this really happen? She climbed back into her car, confused.
Okay. You're just really tired. That's all it was.
She tried to convince herself it was just a hallucination. But deep down she knew it was just too real. When she got back to her house, she went to unlock the front door. But it was already open. She pushed open the door and slowly walked in.
Hello? Dad? Mom?
As she turned on the hall light, she saw written on the wall
What the?
a word
Smile?
in what looked like red paint. Julie then went into the front room and turned on the light there. And there it was again. Smile. It wasn't paint, it was blood. She went from room to room and every single wall had the word smile written on it. She stopped. What if this was to do with the man I knocked over, she thought. Her legs gave way and she collapsed into a chair.
I know. I'll check the CCTV footage.
She got up and ran downstairs to her computer. As she checked through the cameras, beads of sweat fell from her forehead onto the keyboard.
Let's see.
Immediately, she saw him. A tall, thin figure had opened the front door, and she watched as he wrote "smile" on the wall in the hall, and then on the front room, and then the kitchen and the bathroom and the dining room, and then she lost sight of him. She flicked through the rooms on the camera to see had he gone out the back door, but he hadn't.
What's going on?
She froze as she realised he was still in the house. She thought of her phone. Damn, she left it charging in the car. Then, on the screen, looking at the room that she was in at that moment, She saw him. She turned around, hands shaking wildly, heart pounding as she saw him standing there.
What do you want?
His pale white face, black wild spiky hair, his eyes were yellow and his pupils red. This was not a man. He looked like some sort of demon. His head seemed to be stitched onto his body, yellow pointy teeth with gums that looked like rotting flesh, and a long dark coat hanging off his shoulders. But the scariest thing about him was his smile.
Oh, you don't seem like you're having a good day. Why don't you just smile, Julie?
Julie was petrified. She couldn't answer him.
Come on, Julie, smile. Well, if you won't smile, then I'll just have to make you smile.
He grabbed her and tied her to the chair in the small dark room. The grandfather clock in the corner seemed to be getting louder. Tick, tock, tick, tock. She tried to get free. The rope at her feet was a bit loose. If only she could... The clock struck 12 midnight. It chimed louder than she had ever heard it before. And then out of the shadows, laughing hysterically and sharpening a carving knife, he walked towards her.
Oh, don't worry. This will all be over very, very soon.
He raised his fist high over her head and her scream was short as he knocked her unconscious. As the morning light peered in the window and brightened up the room, Julie started to wake up. She had a pounding headache and this sharp, burning pain across her face. As she sat up in the bed, she looked at her reflection in the bedroom mirror.
No!
And there, across her face, was a bloody, smile-shaped cut permanently on her face. Smile, written by Julian McCormack, age 12. Adapted and narrated by Alan Finn. Julie was played by Shannon Fogarty. And the smiling man was voiced by Zach Buggy.